Good afternoon and welcome to Cooking with Dagmar. I'm Dagmar and I work at the William E. Durr branch in Independence, Kentucky from the Kenton County Public Library. Today, we're going to do pastelillos de guayaba y quesitos. It's puff pastry filled with guava paste and sweet cream cheese. These recipes are very famous in the Caribbean and in Europe, mainly Puerto Rico and Cuba. We love them. And they're so easy to make, so let's have fun. Let's talk about guava paste. Guava paste is highly sugary, very sturdy or hard, and they came in different containers. I'm using the plastic one, but they come also in cans that you have to open with a can opener. Today, we're gonna melt it with water, but you can also just cut it in pieces and eat it with cheese. That is a very delicious treat to have after a delicious meal. So, we're gonna have 1/4 cup of water in a pot. Then you're gonna get, for this recipe, we're gonna use half the container because a whole container is too much. We're only using a box of puff pastry and we're gonna share it between the recipes. So if you're gonna do only pastelillos and you're gonna do a lot, just melt the whole can to avoid having to do this process more than once. So, this is the guava paste. We put the water to help it to melt. I put 1/4 cup, but if you see that it's too thick, you can put a little bit of more water once it's melted. And you're gonna put it in medium heat. It's gonna take a while, so while guava paste is melting, let's go ahead and talk about puff pastry. Let's talk about puff pastry. Puff pastry, it has a lot of layers preparing it. It's a very tedious work to make. So that's why we normally use store-bought. The puff pastry that I bought here comes in a box and is folded. In Puerto Rico, ours was completely straight. So it was very surprising for me when I come here and you unfold it and it has ridges and it breaks and stuff. So there's some tips on the box of how to fix it. If it broke, just wet your fingers a little bit, pass it through the pieces or parts that are tear apart, and just put it together very gently. Don't roll the dough. If you roll the dough, it will ruin it. You just have to gently use your fingers, and then we're gonna start cutting so you know the sizes and shapes. One more thing about puff pastry is that the puff pastry, you're gonna find it in the frozen aisles in the supermarket. If you're gonna use it the same day, I recommend as soon as you get home, leave it outside to thaw. But if you're not gonna use it, put it immediately on the freezer. I bought it more than a week or so ago. So 2 days ago, I put it in the fridge so it will thaw and just put it out so we can use it right now. Before putting the puff pastry in the table to work, dust the table with a little bit of all-purpose flour so it will be easy when you cut and they don't stick to the table. Perfect. So this is the puff pastry. I separated it in 3 pieces as the ridges were already too big for me to put them together for cutting. So I dusted the table, and what we're gonna do to have very nice pastelillos is you're gonna use a pizza cutter So you will have straight lines. And then all those ridges are gonna bake uneven and they're gonna burn. So we're gonna cut it out. So I always use a ruler if I want my pastelillos to be nice. So they're almost 9 inches by 3. So we're gonna cut 3 by 3 squares. So just make marks and you're gonna have them. This is gonna be for the pastelillos and for the quesitos. All of them, we're gonna use them. 2.5. So this one you're gonna cut 2.5 squares. And these ones we're gonna do 3 by 3 again. Okay. And now cut those squares. I remember every time there was gonna be a party at my family's house, we have to help our mom to do the pastelillos and the quesitos. So now you know how to cut your puff pastry. Let me go check on the guava paste and then we're gonna talk about the sweet cream cheese. For the sweet cream cheese, we're gonna use 1 bar or cream cheese or 1 box. I have here half a cup of powdered sugar. The recipe that I put this, it says 1/4 because I don't like it too sweet. I like to feel the cream cheese. So we're gonna put it very, very slowly into the cream cheese and we're gonna go tasting to see how it tastes and what we like. This part is the part that you're gonna do it to your taste, to your liking, okay? You can use this part with a hand mixer, but I like to use my electric one. So the cream cheese has to be at room temperature for it to be easy to mix. And once you have it softened, we're gonna start mixing in the powdered sugar. In this part, we're gonna use powdered sugar to make it smoother. But if you prefer granulated sugar, you can do it too. But that is gonna change the measurement, so you have to be very careful about it. So we're gonna put a little bit of the sugar. Scrape the bowl so everything mixes well together. And add a little bit more of sugar. Mix it, and after this mix, we're gonna taste. Grab my little spoon for tasting. Perfect. So our filling is done. So now we have our sweet cream cheese done. And I put it in a Ziploc baggie so it will be easier to pipe to the puff pastry. But you can use it with a spoon if you want to. Now, we're gonna talk about assembly. The pastelillos with the guava paste, we're gonna bake them empty, just the little squares. You're not gonna do anything with those right now. The quesitos, those are the ones that we're gonna fill. I have an egg wash here, that is just a beaten egg. I have my filling, and I have the sugar. So we're gonna put the sugar on top of the quesitos after they're assembled. So the sugar will melt and they will have this little caramel on top that is gonna be delicious to taste. So let's start assembling. The bigger square, the 3x3s, are the ones that we're gonna use for the quesitos. What we're gonna do, I cut a hole in my Ziploc bag, and you're gonna pipe the filling diagonally on the puff pastry. We like our quesitos to have a lot of filling in my house. No blind quesitos in this house. After your filling is there, you're gonna grab a brush and you're gonna brush egg wash on the corners of the puff pastry. Don't worry if the egg wash falls outside in the paper. If you take this to a party, you're gonna be the star, because they're flaky and they're tasteful and they're amazing to look at. Okay, now you're gonna grab the corners and you're gonna wrap your filling around that, and the egg wash is gonna make the quesito to stay. It looks sort of a cannoli, but this one is not fried. And after you have all your quesitos wrapped around the filling with the little blanket, you're gonna grab more egg wash and put it on top. Because after we're baking our quesitos in egg wash, we're gonna put granulated sugar for it to create the caramelized topping. Get a granulated sugar with a spoon and just go crazy with it. Again, don't worry about falling outside of the quesito because the paper is gonna grab it, the parchment paper. Here you have your quesitos done. With the pastelillos, we're gonna bake them empty, but just put a little bit of egg wash on top. In this, you're not gonna sprinkle sugar on them, because after they're baked and filled, we're gonna sprinkle powdered sugar on top. And I'm gonna make 3 more quesitos in this one. and they're ready for the oven. I already had my oven preheated to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. We're gonna put it there in the oven, one in each tray, and you're gonna wait for around 15 minutes and come and check them. It's supposed to be golden brown and caramelized. So that depends on your oven. Be assured the first time you make them to be very, very attentive to them, okay? For the final step, we're gonna assemble our pastelillos. This is the consistency of the guava paste after I let it cool and put it out of the pot. Don't work with the paste hot. Believe me, you can get burned with it. So, this is the puff pastry after it came out of the oven. What we're gonna do is we're gonna make like a sandwich spread. And you can put as much or as little guava paste as you like. My husband loves his pastelillos with a lot of guava paste. So mine are gonna be very, very full. And then put the other half on it. Clean a little bit the corners. Pastelillos with guava paste are very tropical and Caribbean taste. Guavas are delicious. To eat it just out of the tree. With puff pastry, they're amazing. After you have your pastelillos already assembled, you're gonna grab a strainer and a little bit of powdered sugar. And you're gonna dust them with them. And you're finished. I hope you like this recipe and you're gonna try it at home and wow your friends with them. Just a few announcements before we finish. Tomorrow, July 18, from 1 till 4 at the William E. Durr branch in Independence, Kentucky, there's gonna be the Cincinnati Circus with the Circus Parade. You're gonna drive around while the performers are doing their acts in the parking lot. So there's gonna be plenty of social distances because you don't have to get out of your car. So come and join us with your family so you can enjoy it. And the summer reading is still happening until August 31st. Go to our webpage for more information about our summer reading program, our app, Beanstalk, to use it this summer, and more events online. Thank you for being with me and have a great afternoon.